Greetings. I forgot to roll the... There it is. I forgot to roll my intro thing. Oh, well, got that embarrassing intro over. How's it going, everybody? We are back with another one here. Let's go ahead and pull on the guests and remember to unmute them before we go full-fledged nonsense over here. We got 12 currently watching over on Odyssey. We got somewhere between 0 and 13 on YouTube. I'm getting that error occurred, so hopefully we're working over there. We got 11 on Rumble, 1 over there on Twitch, and my brother is also co-streaming on Twitch right now. So, and then less than 5 over there on the Lost Stepchild called it D Live. Should I try? I'm not going to bother refreshing YouTube. We'll let it figure itself out or not. I don't know. Confirm if YouTube is working. Somebody. And let's go and check in on our brief comments first. Usually nice people that wear red hats these days. That's right. Sorry to say, I'm not going to use red hat anymore, my lady. All right. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I don't know. I did see an update on Where's Waldo. I think I saw him in a graveyard. Yeah. That was a meme, right? You guys see that meme? It's no. It had it said, "Where's Waldo?" I got good news and bad news. There's a picture of a graveyard and there's a tombstone that said Waldo.
Oh man.
Ashton is out watching a movie with friends. Enjoy your evening, Ashton. Very good. Hope it's not Indiana Jones, The Curse of the Nursing Home. It's Indiana Jones and the Search for the Golden Bedpan. Come on, guys, get it right. On the plus side, I don't no, maybe they did. I don't know. I was gonna say, did they try and kill him off for the younger, woker version of him? I don't know. I still think it's the Golden Bedpan, not the Curse of the Nursing Home, but maybe it could be. Who knows? we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. 14, 18, 19. FF is present. Greetings. Checking out over on the Odyssey comments. Well, closing your source would technically be anti-cooperative, not anti-competitive. As Bill Gates understands, artificial scarcity is the key to competitive advantage in tech. Here's why desktop OS is everywhere. Linux barely moves the needle. Okay. Let's see. Greetings, everyone. Ent 1973. Stand by for incoming transmission. Bleep, 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 bleep,
yep, that's me.
Bleep. Is Red Hat run by Democrats? Well, Red Hat is run by IBM, and that might, we warned about this, or we commented briefly, like, is this going to have any serious impact when IBM took it all over? Like, no, I don't know, not quite. And then they had the Stream OS, the CentOS situation going to CentOS Stream, which kind of inverted the models, and then they still got mad that people were still making one-to-ones. Basically, they're trying to cancel out the one-to-ones. We'll get there in just a moment. Let's check in over on Rumble, where I don't see anybody over there commenting on Rumble right now. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump in. How's everybody doing? How's it going, Dan?
It's going okay.
All right, very good. Ricky jumped on. How's it going there, Ricky?
Oh, doing good. Doing very good.
Very good. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88, is it right? I can't remember the channel name.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88.
Cool. So what have you been doing up to lately other than me jumping in and dropping Black Lotuses on your Yu-Gi-Oh! Games?
All I've been pretty much doing is just getting some things out of the way. I had a minor surgery yesterday, so I'm recovering for 2 weeks from it.
All right, good. All right. Hopefully you're all right. Ivan, what's going on your way?
Too much. We just got summer going on. Yeah, I had a fight with my razor. It won. It's my summer shave, so I just did that. It'll grow back. I might keep it trimmed for the summer and then start growing it really back up in September.
Yeah, but, I think after I teach at the conference, I might start growing out the beard a little earlier this year. What do y'all think? I know half you guys really love it, half you guys really hate it, but Salbu, what's going on your way?
I'm doing fine. We had in my church, we have this men's association every other week, and we just had the final one for summer break today. So I'm doing good.
Awesome, very nice. Yeah, our pastor was stung by some bees, so we didn't have our church service yesterday, sadly. I sent him a meme about when's it safe to go outside and picture outside giant killer bees. So hopefully he is all right.
So he's busting with life.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. A couple more comments come in here. Yeah, Black Lotuses. I know. Never touched that Red Hat stuff. Blue Eyes, White Dragon, greater than Black Look. All right, whatever. Yeah, Black Lotus might be overrated. I mean, I'd love to have 5 or 6 of them, but of course I'd sell them. But anyway, bring back the Papa Smurf look, please. All right.
When it comes to Black Lotus, prepare to pay a good $1 billion for one of those.
Yeah, there you go. I actually knew a guy. He alleged he had like several Black Lotuses, and he sold a page of Black Lotuses to buy a house. Valuation sounded on par. I'm not sure if it was a true story, but at least it's a fun one to tell. But anyway, enough of that. You guys didn't come here to learn about black magic or Magic the Gathering or Black Lotuses or weird flowers. You came here to learn about Red Hat going all full I wrote non-complete, not non-compete. Bummer. Let me fix my banner. All right, somebody talk. I did that last minute. I completely didn't spell check.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it? All right.
I'm innocent.
At least you managed to get the title on the actual video correct.
There you go. I did get it. In fact, you know what? I got it so correct. I'm just going to copy it and paste it. How's that?
Yeah, beautiful.
All right. There we are. All right.
Red Hat's non-complete. Does that mean you got to build it like Arch?
No, Gentoo. Come on, it's Gentoo. Oh. See, it sucks now. Leave it alone.
You took a page out of Gentoo's book.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the news? Well, the news this morning is that Red Hat removed access to its source code from the public. And this is an interesting trend. So to understand a little bit about this, and anybody that, if I get this slightly wrong, please correct me. So the way it used to go, way back before IBM bought it, and there's your first hack. There's a big for-profit company called IBM, you know, the company that helped like those mid-40s German soldiers do their databasing and stuff, bought it. And initially we're like, this is not good news. We'll see what happens. That was, I think, our official stance on this channel. As I said, I don't know. This is probably not going to go good. Within about a year of that, they switched off CentOS and made CentOS stream. So the significance there is that CentOS was a full bug-for-bug compatibility. If you wanted to pay for enterprise support because you want enterprise support, you buy Red Hat, you have the full system and a full support model. But if you're like, I don't need enterprise support, you use CentOS, it's effectively exactly the same type of thing, and everything on it works just fine, and you just would have to pay somebody to manage any form of support. Well, they didn't like the fact that people were not paying them because it is now owned by this giant for-profit company, and so they kill CentOS and make it CentOS Stream. When they did that, CentOS used to be downstream of Red Hat. They moved it upstream, which means things go into CentOS and then they get filtered into Red Hat, and then they make all the changes. All the code for everything was still open source. So when they did this, though, and they moved CentOS above Red Hat, now you could pull the CentOS code, but it may not be the same code inside of Red Hat because it's downstream. Think the differences between Ubuntu and Debian. So when that happened, because you could still use the Red Hat code, new distributions came out. 2 outstanding ones were Alma and Rocky Linux. These were one-for-one, bug-for-bug compatibility, perfect compatibility with Red Hat. The problem is they killed the CentOS because it was cutting into their stream, and now they're seeing that it's cutting into their stream again, and so they pulled the public availability. Now, to satisfy the GPL license, if you are a paying member of Red Hat, you have access to the source code, but part of that is that you may not distribute the source code, which means Rocky Linux couldn't buy one license to it, get the source code, and then release it according to the license. That's the part where I think we're going to have a brief conversation about. The problem here is that they're trying to cut out, it would appear anyway, they're trying to cut out your one-to-one bug compatibilities of Alma Linux and Rocky Linux. Now, what impact does this have? You say, well, I'm just a basic Linux user. That doesn't impact me at all. The problem is that these are the servers that run most of the world. And now we have a big company like IBM trying to grasp at holding the money and the revenue on most of the internet in the world. This is a dangerous, dangerous precedent to be setting. But we're going to go ahead and cut into some of this stuff. So we are first going to go and look at the article from Red Hat itself. Anybody have anything to jump in before we hit the articles?
Yeah, so the only thing I would could comment is on the changes is that the software have most of the packages in Red Hat have a free software license, and like the MIT and the BSD license, and then you have the copyleft licenses like the GPL, which requires that anyone who gets access to the code also need to get access to the source code, and they should be free to share the source code with whoever they want without having any strings attached. This is not changing. What is changing is that Red Hat is saying that for those who are paying customers or are partners with them, would still have access to the full complete source code tarbals through the customer portal or there's some portal that they are logging into, and they have full access and can download everything. The new thing is that they are underlining a requirement in the terms of service for access to this portal is that if you when you have access to this, you should not. If they say that if you are redistributing this source code, which you are allowed to do, you will lose access to Red Hat's portal. They are not coming after you for redistributing, but they are cutting you off from accessing further source code. So,
well, this is the exact line here I believe we are discussing. Unauthorized use of subscription service. Using subscription service in connection with any redistribution of software or using the subscription service to support or maintain any non-Red Hat software products without purchasing subscription services for each instance, collectively unauthorized subscription service uses. That's the part that to me sounds as though it may go against the GPL licensing, because you're saying you're getting access to this, but we're restricting you from reselling it, which is a violation of the GPL.
Yeah, but they are not restricting you from redistributing or even reselling it. But if you do so, they say that then they will cut you off from accessing further updates of any code, and which means that you will also not get any updates from Red Hat in any way, because any updates of the compiled binary packages, you still need a login. It's automated in some config file, but the access that is required for getting the updates will be cut off, because you are publishing the code that you are. They are fully within their rights, but it's a dick move. I think is the professional way.
Yeah, well, I am not completely sure they're completely within the rights of the GPL, though. And the reason is I purchase the software. I'm continuing to purchase the software as a subscription, but now you're telling me I cannot use and redistribute that code, which is exactly the purpose of the GPL. So, yeah, so it's the case of they're cutting you off by cutting off your subscription service, but they don't have the right to do that by the code. That's really the point of debate that I don't think we're probably going to solve in this discussion. I'm just saying I think that is the contentious point. I do agree that they're not within the rights of hiding it from the public without buying access. That's perfectly fine. What I'm saying is if you do use that code for something else, they're going to cut you off. I think that is a violation of the license. That's my thought.
So what I think might happen going forward is that someone who is a supporter of either Alma or Rocky Linux and how is going to either pay a subscription or already has a subscription, and will copy their access to the tarballs to someone at the Rocky Linux or the Alma Linux, and they release the new packages, which won't be traced back to that customer.
Yeah, so I guess we'll figure out. Anybody else want to comment on this? So we can get off our soapbox or our filibuster or whatever else before we jump in. Yeah, go ahead, Ricky.
The only thing I can really say, Tom, is just by hearing this sounds like it is going to slowly become a gigantic mess. I have no clue until where this is going to be going.
I will agree to that, yeah.
It's also important to notice not only is Rocky Linux and Alma Linux affected, they also laid off Fedora's program manager, Ben Cotton. Fedora is the upstream community distro for Red Hat Enterprise Linux.
Yep, so the Fedora guy now they do Fedora, the Fedora open source ends up getting fed into the Red Hat. So basically it's through the testing through the Fedora guys before it gets into Red Hat. Well, they laid that guy off too.
Yeah, they cut the program managers.
They're basically going full-fledged corporate mode with this, and that is never a good sign. So anyway, let's get back into their actual release. So we'll start with them. This is Red Hat's actual blog post and what they're doing now under the guise of furthering the evolution of CentOS Stream. So now, again, this used to sit below Red Hat. Now it sits above Red Hat. The difference is below Red Hat, everything in Red Hat is in CentOS. There might be a few changes. Everything above it, CentOS is up there, and then they're trying to, from there, will make any changes that they want to do. And to be clear, anything proprietary they might put in, they do not have to provide the source code, although I'm not 1% sure they can bundle it. I don't know, Selby can answer that one better, but let's look at the post. More than 2 years ago, Red Hat introduced CentOS Stream as a focal point for the collaboration around Red Hat Enterprise Linux. CentOS Stream shortens the feedback window between Red Hat engineers and partners, customers, communities, while at the same time providing even greater visibility to the next innovations of Red Hat. We've seen great success in the special interest group community to help integrate and bring new technologies faster than ever. The automotive SIG is an excellent example of this. Hardware partners have also ramped up to use CentOS Stream for more rapid support of new hardware technologies. Because of CentOS Stream, Red Hat Enterprise Linux is more transparent and open than ever before, which is complete corporate nonsense. We're going to lock everything behind a wall so that nobody can see it anymore where they used to, and that is we are more open and transparent. No, the corporatists just took over Red Hat, and this is a problem. As CentOS Stream community grows and the enterprise software world tackles new dynamics, we want to sharpen our focus on CentOS Stream as the backbone of enterprise Linux innovation, continuing our investment in and increasing our commitment to CentOS Stream. CentOS Stream will now be the sole repository for Red Hat related source code releases. So, in other words, Red Hat customers and partners' source code will remain available via the Red Hat customer portal, but you can't access it otherwise. To be clear, the change does not signify any changes to the projects, the CentOS project, CentOS Stream, or source availability for CentOS or the CentOS SIG. Why make the change? Because we're corporates. That's why. Anyway, before CentOS Stream, Red Hat published public sources for Red Hat on git.centos.org. When CentOS project shifted to center on CentOS Stream, we maintained these repositories even though CentOS Linux was no longer being built downstream of Red Hat. The engagement around CentOS Stream, the engineering levels of investment, and the new priorities we're addressing for customers and partners now make maintaining separate redundant repositories inefficient. The latest source code will still be available via CentOS Stream. Red Hat customers and partners can access the Red Hat sources via the customer portal and partner portals in accordance with their subscription agreement. So that is the hence of the whole argument there. That's what they're doing, basically cutting off access to the Red Hat source code. Now, the problem is once they did this funkiness with CentOS, that seriously damaged a big backbone. To understand how much this damaged, web servers. If you have a website, it is most likely on a or it was 5 years ago, on a CentOS, on a cPanel. Well, cPanel went nuts, and Red Hat's going nuts. Server costs are going to skyrocket, and this might be part of their plan to make sure that nobody can afford them in the future. I know right now I've been monitoring this because I'm running cPanel under my own license that I purchased directly from cPanel, and their costs have gone up 30% in 3 years.
Wow.
Okay, I was paying I think 32 a month when I first started. Now I'm paying $42.99 a month for my cPanel license. So when your web hosting prices go up, that's why. Well, now we're getting rid of any ability to run freely. Now, this is where Rocky Linux and Alma Linux came in. You could run those instead of CentOS and get perfect compatibility. Now, cPanel at least is going towards being built on top of Ubuntu, Rocky, and Alma, so you can run it on those as well. So there are other options. Of course, cPanel's gone nuts insane too, but we're not here talking about that today. So that is the core of what Red Hat is doing. Any commentary on this before we look at some other articles?
The biggest question that boggles my mind now is the situation with the GPL, because if they're going to restrict access to this code, is the Free Software Foundation eventually going to respond to this?
I think that's going to be, once again, determining your interpretation of this one line of this code. Can they say you are in violation of their terms of service for using their code based on this? Is this a violation or not? I don't know. It would appear Salbu still disagrees with that, I think. Do you disagree with that
I don't
still?
think they care. I think if they get booted off the GPL, they'll just come up with a different license to run it under.
They're too deep to do that, though. They would literally have to wipe out 1% of everything and create something completely from scratch.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they also would have to change the kernel for in order to do that, because the kernel is under the GPL license.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, they would have to literally wipe out everything and just make a kernel for themselves in order to do that. But the thing is, the Linux kernel is so powerful that it's remotely impossible for them to do that.
Yeah, they would have to move to one of the BSD kernels in order to do this.
Well, it's not that far-fetched, because all they have to do is, if it's enterprise Linux, all they'd have to do is make the kernel compatible with server hardware. They wouldn't have to worry about desktop and all the laptops and everything else.
Yeah, but there's still a lot that goes into that and things like that. But I mean, that is a valid point. I guess the question is how is this ultimately going to be interpreted, and are groups like Free Software Foundation and anyone else with an interest going to step up? Unfortunately, a lot of the organizations with the power to step up are already in the hands of the corporatists. So, I mean, it might just be something we have to figure out. Now, there's not complete doom and gloom at the end of the table. We'll get into that here. Here's WebPro news. This kind of restricts a little bit about what I was talking about. Red Hat takes aim at Rocky Linux and Alma. I really think that they are doing this specifically to prevent distros like these ones here from functioning, because literally as soon as we saw the end of CentOS, these guys popped up and were ready to go before CentOS died. And I think that irritated them, because I think they killed CentOS to get more money. And the problem is, a lot of people do not need the enterprise. They don't need that. Let's figure this out, okay? These companies, a lot of these companies are built on free and open source software. The best that they can do is they can sit back and they can sit back and they can realize that other companies might need the same type of advantage. Copy link. Yeah. I did pull up responses from the two main distros. I did actually pull up the Rocky Linux one, which I just saw, and Alma Linux just released one as well. So we'll cover that one together. Sweet. Thank you for that, Salbu. So let's see, in a blog post, Mike McGrath, that's the one we just read. He announced Red Hat is changing its policy, mostly regarding this and where the Git repositories of Red Hat were at. Mostly this is just to prevent these other distros from doing what they have been doing really well. So, and then of course this is the article that restricts access to the source code that we've already been looking at. So let's go ahead and get into the responses. Now, I know on Twitter today, I did see that Rocky Linux, they had a great meme, and then they said, you know, the rumors about, what was the guy, you know, the rumors about her death are widely exaggerated, right? And he says that. So I replied to them and said, that's great, because I'm actually going to be starting to experiment with some new web server technologies to see if I can boot cPanel out of my life. I'll tell you this, little footnote, ISP config, while it does a good job on some things, it is not a good replacement for cPanel. There are too many issues with it to make it a viable replacement. The biggest one is your lack of the ability to do PHP switchers in a sane manner. It is theoretically possible, but it's very difficult. Their email exchange system is not as good and robust as it could be. The manual overhead it takes to set up a website server, like there's no automated DNS creation. You have to remember to create the DNS separate from everything else. So ISP config will do a job in some cases, but it is nowhere near where it needs to be to replace cPanel. I have my eyes on a few other ones I'm going to be looking at, and I'm going to be doing those on Rocky. So we'll see what happens. But here is Rocky's. And I have not actually read this one yet because it popped up just before the stream. So this is just today. Rocky Linux expresses confidence despite Red Hat's announcement. So they start in the first paragraph. I think read half of this. The first one starts out talking about what's going on. The real intention is to block these guys out, but they said, we're fast. We're not going down without a fight. I believe open source should always be freely available and completely stable. He says it should never be hidden behind a paywall, nor should be controlled by a single company. We're talking to you, IBM, who always finds yourself on the wrong side of history. States Gregory Kurtzner, the founder of Rocky Linux Project and the chair of the board of Rocky Enterprise Software Foundation, which hosts the project. Red Hat's decision to limit the distribution of their sources has created a minor inconvenience for Rocky Linux team, but due to fast development and an amazing group, there is no disruption to Rocky Linux users. Moving forward, we are becoming even more stable, supported, and secure. So they believe that the community strongly believes in the open source value of collaboration. Rocky Linux contributors have participated in responsibility part of the EL ecosystem, regularly contributing upstream to CentOS as well as to Fedora and other open source projects. These contributions strengthen the entire enterprise Linux community. So they want the transparent operating system, which is exactly what it is. Basically, they say that they're going to hold firm and not be stopped by this. Any commentary on that before we jump in anywhere else?
Well, it seems like they're enthusiastic. Maybe they have a trick up their sleeve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it might be Salbu's case. Somebody inside there is going to be beaming them the information anonymously. Go Tor. Just don't do it in France.
I also think that I'm quite sure, I don't remember, but I think the one who started Rocky Linux is the same one who also started the CentOS back in the day, together with a companion who is now dead. So,
yeah, it is the same person.
I know what he's talking about.
Yep. All right. Alma Linux. Let's see what Alma Linux has to say also today, and this one I have not seen at all. I looked for these this afternoon when I was compiling or getting ready for this. At that time, these were not up, so these were just posted within the last few hours. All right, impact of Red Hat changes to Alma Linux. Yesterday, Red Hat announced another massive shift that impacts all rebuilds and forks of Red Hat. Going forward, Red Hat will only now be releasing the source code behind their customer portal, since all Red Hat clones rely on sources being published. This is causing disruption for the entire ecosystem once again. Quick summary, how we get RPM sources is being forced to change. Last week, one of our build SIG members noticed that some updates for Red Hat 8 hadn't been published on Git CentOS OS like they were supposed to be. They assumed it was a bug, opened a report appropriately. But as the days went on with no resolution, we knew something was up. See, this is how corporatists work. We're just going to go really quietly, not make any announcements until we're caught. So Red Hat has decided to continue to use the customer portal to share code with our partners and customers while treating CentOS Stream as the venue for collaborating with the community. This change means that we, as builders of a Red Hat clone, will now be responsible for following the licensing and agreements that are in place around Red Hat's interfaces, in addition to following the licenses included in the software sources. Unfortunately, the way we understand it today, Red Hat's user interface agreements indicate that republishing sources acquired through the customer portal would be a violation of those agreements. This means we need a new solution. Short-term and long-term solutions to this change are something that will be discussed over the coming weeks. We spent much of our time today diving deep to ensure that we understood the depth of the problem and discussing the potential options. In the short term, we will be working with other members of Red Hat ecosystem to ensure that we continue to deliver security updates with speed and stability that we have become known for. In the long term, we'll be working with those same publishers with our community to identify the best path forward for Alma Linux as part of the enterprise Linux ecosystem. If you have any questions, let us know, blah, blah, blah. There's already questions, so does it mean I won't be getting security updates? In the meantime, our plan is to pull CentOS Stream updates and Oracle updates to ensure security patches continue. These updates will be carefully curated so they are one-to-one compatible with Red Hat while not violating their licensing. Isn't that going to be fun? Who is involved in the conversations about it to the date? Our board, president, and all of our SIG leaders have been involved in the conversations, as well as many other members of the community. If you'd like to be involved, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Can you just use CentOS Stream as sources? No, we are committed to remaining a downstream Red Hat clone, and using CentOS Stream sources would make us upstream of Red Hat. CentOS Stream sources, while being upstream, do not always include all the patches and updates that are included in Red Hat, and it trying to kill downstream clones. We cannot speak to their intentions, and we can only point to things they have said publicly. We've had an incredible working relationship with Red Hat through the life of Alma Linux OS, and we hope to see that continue. That last one's kind of like, yes, it is. We just can't say that. I can say that. I'm independent. There's a reason I don't build distros. I want to remain neutral. All right. Thoughts on that?
So this is going to be fun. A lot of people are going to have a lot more to do in order to ensure that they are bug for bug compatible with Red Hat. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are certainly going to be busy.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, and I think it's. I think this is a bad one. I think this is what happens anytime a big company gets involved. This is why people are seriously concerned about Ubuntu taking on more of corporate roles, because this is the type of stuff that happens. They start seeing dollar bills in their eyes. They don't want to work with the free and open source community. They don't want to support other small businesses that are starting up. Now that they've gotten to the top, they simply want to quash anybody who could possibly be coming behind them. And that is the heart that is bad. You know, we need to support people who are coming up behind us. And, you know, you got there all on free and open source software, and then now that you have a pile of money, you buy it all and then kick everybody out of the club. I'm sorry. Go to hell, you douchebag. That's what I have to say.
I second that motion.
Yeah. All right, and Dan seconds the motion. Do we have a third?
Gotcha.
All right, is the vote unanimous, Salbu? Do we unanimous vote?
I'm going to reiterate something that you said earlier in the stream, and that is, I think that this is something that IBM has ordered Red Hat to do, by the fact that they are the sole shareholder.
Yeah, and that is what I mean by this is the problem with that. So I do not mean any animosity towards the people on the Red Hat team specifically, because Red Hat got them and you will do this. Yes, sir. And every one of them is sitting there right now biting their tongue at the people who pay their bills, because it's like, you know what, man? They realize they're going to cause damage to the community. they just can't do anything about it because a big company came in, bought it out, sees dollar signs, and says, screw it.
Well, who's to say that the Red Hat customers don't agree with this, don't like what they're charging or anything else, and switch to some other platform?
Well, first and foremost, if you've been paying attention to the human race, we can declare all sorts of stuff as bad, and we simply will not stop, purchasing it or consuming it or whatever else. It's like, and then that's what you need to do. We saw some positive change in such boycotts with like Target a little bit and Bud Light a lot, but for the most part, for the most part, it's not human nature to easily change. Like literally, my domain registrar went completely insane 8 months ago. Just today, I got around to setting up a new account to move things around. They have literally been forcing me to use a personal credit card on a business transactions for 8 months. Because I've been trying to work with them, be like, guys, your system is screwed up. You guys need to fix it. And they're like, it's your bank's problem. You're telling me that 4 different cards at 3 different banks are all the problem when I have actual documentation about this exact problem being on your server for other customers. Maybe the problem is not me, just a thought. But that's human nature. Now, it's been on my list to do for a long, long time. I was just researching my better options. But the average person, A, does not want to do that. B, this doesn't really impact their customers at all. It's perfect for them for as far as their customers, because their customers, they're not seeing any change. The only people this affects are people who are saying either we don't have the money to pay for your crap, or we just don't need to pay money for your support. And those people are like, we're happy figuring out the support ourselves. We're happy with running with the open source platform. Now they're the ones getting crap canned because of the way they wanna run it. So that's that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, all I gotta say is with the direction Red Hat is going, I really hate to say this, in my personal opinion, they are literally setting themselves up to take a huge major hit from the community. And I think the silver lining and good thing that's going to come out of this is you're going to see other Linux distributions come into the server space, like Debian, for example. I mean, Debian, in my opinion, is one of the best options that can go up against Red Hat.
Yeah, as I said at the beginning, the big problem with Debian right now is getting multiple PHP versions. It is possible. I've seen some steps for it, but it is very difficult to execute. So that's one of the things that made, and it wasn't necessarily in those packages themselves, but in how the web hosting servers specifically are packaged on CentOS, or on cPanel, I should say. You can go in and say, I want this folder on my website to use PHP 7 and this folder to use PHP 8. You can't do that on Debian. It's nearly as easy. And that's kind of the problem. Now, that might just be because the software's sitting on top of it or whatever else, because I'm sure that these are pulling in PHP versions, side by side, not from the repositories and stuff like that. Debian is good. I like it. My ISP config sits on that. The Jitsi server we're using right now sits on Debian. My VPN sits on Debian. My restreaming server, I think my restreaming server may not be Debian. I don't remember what my restreaming server is. Just something that I have an easier access to Nginx. So I don't know. But that's kind of the case. I don't know. Other thoughts?
So
Uncle Bonehead, it was IDM bought Red Hat.
If they're going to go, if they're not going to have open source their system anymore, what's to say that they're going to start putting telemetry in Red Hat Enterprise Linux?
It is still open source. It's just not publicly available. There's a difference.
Well, then if nobody can see it, then they can get away with it.
No, because you can see it when you buy the license. When you buy the license, you can see all the source code.
Oh, then you're in the club. You're part of the problem.
Yes, correct. All right,
it's interesting to note that all this downhill started after IBM bought all the shares.
Yep. So IBM bought them, and ever since then, now they're trying to grab a stranglehold on most of the internet. This IBM, literally, that sale should have been stopped. But the fact that it hasn't been is because nobody in any forms of political power have any brain cells rubbing together as far as technology is concerned.
Because before IBM got into the picture, what Red Hat was doing with a lot of projects was they were buying higher value proprietary software that was popular used on Linux, and so they bought various projects, and then they open sourced the entire thing, relicensed it as GPL and so on.
Yeah. And IBM's like, you're throwing money away, man.
It's hard for me to believe that Red Hat is running the entire internet.
They are running a lot of it. We can't say they're running all of it.
I mean, we have a Ubuntu server out there. We have other server platforms that are, sold and used out on the market.
Yeah, but the number one server was CentOS until they killed it, and that's when Rocky and Alma came up, and then I think Ubuntu and Debian's took some of that as well. For the people that weren't running things that had to be on there, it's like, maybe let's go with some other.
You even have OpenSUSE out there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think that's kind of close SUSE at this point in time, but let's check a look at some comments here. Let's see. Closing your source would technically be anti-cooperative, not anti-competitive. Okay, let's see. So maintaining the license, but gatekeeping through proprietary access servers. Brilliance. Apparently there are more ways than one to manifest artificial scarcity. This is IBM we're talking about. They have thousands of low-level devs. Building operating systems is not a problem for them. This is true. This is true. Greetings from Shenandoah Valley. Wow, we did not have a lot of comments over there on Odyssey. How many people are watching on Odyssey? Oh, we have 25 watching on Odyssey, just not particularly talkative today.
Yeah.
Only one over there. Well, we have 15 watching on Rumble. Only one comment. Excellent discussion. Got to go. All right, Idoran. Hopefully you will catch the rest of it later on. I don't see anything new going on over on Twitchiness or over on DLive, a.k.a. Lost Stepchild. So let's check out a look at YouTube, which has 35 watching on YouTube. Number of you folks today. Greetings. Let's see. Also, Red Hat needs on. Let's see. Guess it's time to get rid of that fedora I used to wear. Nah, you can keep it. All right. Here's what exactly this is about. Yep. Hopefully you know it by now because we've been through it all.
Yeah, IBM is kind of like really still mad about Microsoft stealing DOS from them. The DOS market. Okay, apparently I did not do a good job leaving my comment where I was. I already read some of these. Okay, I'm using Fedora for my external drive. Has no problem so far. Yep, never touched Red Hat stuff for a reason. Finally got around to installing MX Linux on my older laptop. Loving it so far. Yeah, that's a really, really good one. Okay. Dude, stop. Did YouTube change something again? They're always changing something.
Dude, stop. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to just highlight something to see where I'm at, and it's trying to, like, highlight and, like, give me some giant pop-up menu. It's like, don't give me your stupid pop-up menu. I'm just trying to figure out what comment I'm on.
Why can't YouTube just go back to the way the site looked back in, 2006, 2007?
A lot has to do with the browsers, too. I got different browsers on different machines. They're updating, like, at least once a week.
Yep.
And they're breaking things, too. The only one that's still been rock solid is LibreWolf that I do most of my main browsing.
We are Firefox fixed.
Yeah.
If no one else does this, I like Arch-based distros on my laptop, but I use Ubuntu on my servers. Yeah, I generally use Debian on the servers unless I have a reason not to. Unfortunately, some of the applications I want to run can't run on it. This
is one of the reasons that Red Hat Enterprise and the CentOS and so on is popular. Is the long-term support that they give you.
Yeah. Frost Ranger, the Frozen Realm. Greetings, Frost Ranger. Good to see you back. Hope there's enough pushback that Red Hat backpedals. Yeah, they're hopefully, but I don't know, because it's like they got IBM behind them. I don't think they care.
No.
Yeah, any of the big companies that have backpedaled as let it cool down and then front pedaled some more.
Been pretty hardcore XFCE fan for a while now. Use it on everything. Arch didn't break, so I guess I'll stay. There you go. Besides, the hardware is fairly new. Yep. Arch has been pretty stable for me personally. Is this a violation of GPL since you have to sign a EULA forbidding you to redistribute access to the code? That's the hinge of that question. It's going to kind of boil down to what happens with that. But if someone like the Linux kernel team and Free Software Foundation come together and go, yeah, you can't do that, I'm pretty sure they're going to pull back a little bit, but we'll see.
I mean, it pretty much depends on whether, if, the Linux kernel team or the Free Software Foundation, if they respond or not. That's what it hinges on, is are they going to do it or are they not going to do it?
One thing that's interesting is that CentOS 7 is still supported for another year.
But 8 is dead. Yeah, I know. They my cPanel servers are running CentOS 7. So I have about a year to move those to something else. And I think I have 25 or 30 sites over there right now.
I mean, if you need a suggestion, Tom, you could move them to Debian if you wanted.
Nope, cannot. Debian does not run cPanel.
Oh.
Nor does it run the other servers I'm experimenting with. Those have to be highly functional, highly usable, highly easy to manage web servers. Those are servers for clients. Unfortunately, I'm paying out my nose for the cost for them now. Between the Linode fees, because those went up 20% as well, thanks to Akamai, another big corporate buying out the small businesses that were good. Between that going up 20% and cPanel going up 30%, my server costs have gone up about 40% in the last 2 years. That's what happens when big companies buy your stuff.
I will still say Linode is a really good platform, though.
I cannot disagree with that. I am a little concerned because they're also one of the big players in the ESG, and that means that they're going to bring on diversity hires, and that's never going to be good for the company.
No.
Kind of like my doctor's office. I don't care how many black people you got up front. I don't care how many gay people you got up front. I want people with a lot of experience if you're going to be cutting me open. Okay? I don't really care who they want to diddle with. I don't care what they look like. Just give them experience.
Yeah. As long as they know what they're doing.
What we need is people to stop using corporate-backed distros because they can just piece out whenever they like. Yeah, true. The problem is we just won't stop doing that kind of stuff. Some of it for decent reasons. Some of it is inconvenience. The one that irritates me the most is when you're doing it because it's your entertainment. Oh, where else am I going to watch my TV show? Rethink your life if you're going to let a TV show cause you to keep contributing to corporate filth. I mean, really.
But how else am I going to watch Simpson?
Yeah, there you go. Commodore fans back with some beef stroganoff. Nice. Shall be warning to all corporate-backed Linux distros, much safer to depend on a less centralized, community-maintained system. The problem is your paycheck's not as good. And I'm not saying that, I am definitely not saying Red Hat did it because it's like, we need more money, we want more money, we're greedy. They might just be like, things are really, really tight, and this happening would actually cause me to pay my mortgage every month without worrying about it. I can completely understand that,
But that doesn't mean that it's a good thing to do, even if you could understand it.
Correct. I can understand that. I mean, I have a doctorate degree in a pretty robust field. I could go make six figures in a lab. I just don't want to work in a lab. I prefer my freedom and flexibility, and I make a fraction of what I could make. But, whatever.
Yeah, it boils down to what is the price of happiness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anybody seeing any other comments you want to read? Why do you think so many Windows haters still use Windows? Yeah, my cousin emails me and says, Windows 11 is an abortion. I said, no kidding.
Someone says, screw it, go for Hannah Montana Linux.
Yeah, I saw that
There you
one.
go.
Yeah, I just saw that.
I will say, other than Red Hat screwing themselves over, at least the good news that's come out is the new version of Linux Mint's going to be coming out soon.
Yes, we will be on Saturday. We will be doing a distro review of Linux Mint Beta. Linux Mint 21.2 betas just dropped out last night. So
yeah, and
I
also
have my copy. Hopefully it boots. There have been a few small issues with virtual machine. If it doesn't, I'll just go ahead and boot it up on real hardware.
And also the beta for the newest version of Peppermint's out too.
Dude, that stupid pop-up menu showed up again, and I can't click off of it.
Oh, boy.
I couldn't tell you about that. I haven't done any work with the Peppermint team in quite a few months.
So, Dan, what's new?
Yeah.
With them, I don't know. Last I heard is there was something posted about Debian having over 100 bugs still left in it, and the main developer wanted to research what them kind of bugs really were, so they could, determine if it affected them very much. If everything was going well, it was possibly July 1st they might release it, a full version.
Okay, that's good.
I'm not promising anything, but that's what I last seen.
Well, other than Linux Mint and Peppermint preparing to push out releases, I mean, we're also still waiting on any more information about the future of Solus Linux being converted to a Serpent OS base.
There's more weird stuff going on. Yeah.
They've changed Peppermint quite a bit. They've made it. They've gone back from using Nemo to putting Thunar in it, like everybody else does that uses XFCE, and they've removed any evidence of candy of Peppermint. You won't see no peppermint candies in it no more. They developed a new logo for
that's
it.
Sad.
Well, after the stream, I'll talk more about it.
Sure. Let me see if I can see this new. Is this new logo?
I don't let too many cats out of the bag before they're ready to bag it out.
Meow. Yeah, their new website doesn't even have any. Dude, this is a major regression in website. They don't even have a logo. It just says Peppermint OS.
Was it like colored in a box?
This is white and yeah.
Yeah,
it looks like some of the images are still old. I'm still seeing the peppermint candies floating.
Yeah, the main logo is just PMOS in a box.
Oh, no,
that's an old website you're looking at, I think.
Yeah,
it hasn't been updated or nothing.
Oh well,
there's still a lot of people using the older version.
I'm still using Peppermint on my banking computer. Although I probably need to update it because one of the things I found out is that the version that I'm running, it's probably the Firefox version, but I don't want to push updates on that particular system and mess things up. Last time I did that, it screwed up a bunch of weird things under the hood, and since it's only used for a very narrow focus, I didn't bother. But the Firefox version does not support YubiKeys. Very odd. I wanted to enable 2FA on a few different applications, and it would not allow me to.
Are you using straight up Firefox or the ESR?
Yeah. Straight up Firefox. But it's an old version, so I mean.
Does it work with LibreRoof?
No idea, because it's as I said, it's a banking computer, so I do not do anything to it that doesn't have to be done. I'll refresh it every couple years, and then once it's refreshed, I don't touch it because, last time I tried to push updates in between rebuilding it, the whole thing went wonky, and then it completely defeated its own purpose. So, Eric Sears trying to give cubes a try. I have a whole cubes getting started tutorial on the channel if you want to do that. I did hit the bottom of the comments, and it's close to 8 o'clock, so we are going to wrap this guy up here. Let me see. I got a $1 Rumble rant over on Rumble from Devoured Eagle.
Rumble.
Greetings, Mr. Tom. Could you give a quick rundown of how you manage multi-streaming on all platforms? Is it a service or another platform? No, it is Nginx actually supports restreaming out of the box. So if you set up Nginx and you can give it a configuration file that is a restreamer configuration file. And so it literally is just a very small Linode server, the micro-size servers, and it's running Nginx and nothing else, and it just has a restreaming configuration, and you just go into it and you just give it all the restreams you want, and then I generate a stream key that goes from OBS into that server. The server takes all the data feeds and outputs it to all of the other feeds simultaneously. So that is how I am doing it, and there are some tutorials out there. I should probably write one, or at least find some and pin to them, pin to some of the ones that are good. So there are, if you are looking at it and you're like, it sounds way too complicated for me, you can go to restream.io. That's a service which I think you get a few restreamings for free, and then you can pay for it for more support and more features and things like that. So there is other options for that, but in my case, I just use my little Linode server and do that. And I think my Linode server cost me $5 a month, but it's all attached to my hosting bill, so I don't have to do anything else about it. I've been thinking about going back to Arch was okay. You have to fix things every once in a while, but I can do that on Mint. I get rusty. Also find myself not liking the newer versions of Mint VMs. The latest version of Mint looks very promising so far, but we'll see what happens. I'll be looking at it here soon.
Are you going to do an upgrade, or are you going to do an ISO install?
We're going to do it on a VM to look at the beta.
Yeah, because when it does come out, it would be nice if we had a direct upgrade path.
Yeah, there will be a direct upgrade path. There always is in Linux Mint, and this is 21.1 to 21.2. It'll be pretty easy. So we'll cover those. Now, I did actually, for the Debian tutorials that are going on right now, I actually did install that on real hardware, like on real bare metal. So the problem I have, here's a big problem with Debian, getting screen sharing or screen recording to work. Can't find anything that works well. The GNOME built-in GNOME screen desktop recorder works for video, but that doesn't record audio. Cheese doesn't work. Simple Screen Recorder doesn't work. Was it Voco Screen was causing problems. A lot of
there's your 100 bugs that were reported.
Yeah. It's like, so I was like, what in the world can I do? I just said, you know what? Screw it. This thing is on my big computer. I just ran the HDMI port through my capture card, and I actually recorded that last video on my laptop. I have a capture card for a reason. Let's use it. All right. I'm using it now, but
I'm wondering if they pushed Debian 12 out too soon.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
yeah, they did. It wasn't supposed to be released till the middle of July. And, you know, when I went in and talked to some of the Debian guys, you know, at their channel, they were shooting for the middle of July. And then, you know, some of the other, like MX Linux, and I don't even want to say them, but some of the other distros that use Debian kind of wanted it a little faster, and then they have some of their own internal problems. So they just decided to release it and fix what they can on the fly with bug reports.
Fun.
Speaking of the comments, our Red Hat friend who sometimes, every now and again, every other year or so, attend these live streams. I pinged him on the Discord server, the other one, and he just saw the message, and he said he wanted to join, but he's busy at work with his own Red Hat nightmare.
Oh yeah. Well, so, it would have been. I actually sent him a message as well. I'm not seeing it on my phone right now.
If you're looking for a Debian 12 build of LMDE, they usually take 6 to 8 months after they release Debian for them to put that out. That's been the norm with them, because I've always tried to wait, and because I really would like to get the LMDE, but sooner or later I get impatient. And if you build a Cinnamon build right from the Debian net installer, the only thing you're really missing is the updater.
Yeah.
The Mint update system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing.
Courtney says on Matrix, I'd post here, but I don't think switchedtolinux ever reads it. The thing is, I keep forgetting because it's not something that's easily on the streaming computer. So I have this phone that I keep with Matrix signed in. So my apologies. Yes, I do often forget to check it. It's just because of inconvenience. I would like to see if I can patch together a way to feed all the comments in all at once. It'd be awesome. Down the road, we'll look into that. But anyway, I think we're going to wrap this one up for now. We will be releasing another edition of our Amos study on our walk in Christ tonight. We reject the God who loves us. I was going to cover the last half of Amos chapter 2. If you're interested in such Christian topics, you can join us on over there. I will drop the link in all these different spots on the 3 primary live chats here. We'll see that link. So you can jump on over there. That premieres at 9. That is 1 hour from now over there. And with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap up today. Any final words anybody has?
I think it's going to be interesting to watch what is going to happen over the next couple of weeks, because I'm sure that at least some of the Red Hat customers are going to have opinions on this. So it will be interesting to see if any of them are going to comment on it publicly.
Yeah, and I think that where this one has a greater chance of surviving is the fact that I don't think a lot of the paying customers are seriously impacted by it, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
And it's also, I remember in 2001, there was two Linux documentaries that came out. In one of them, the then CEO of Red Hat was interviewed as part of the documentary. And he said that when they started up, they started as an free software company, commercial company that gave away all their tools freely and open source and the source code and everything. And then they realized, after a while, that the only thing, because some customers commented on this in various events that they have, that is happening in the Linux community yearly, that some of them commented that the only thing that kept them loyal to Red Hat was the fact that they gave away all their tools. So,
yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it's really strange because a few years ago I was looking at DaVinci Resolve for Linux, and they would only offer support for CentOS. Now CentOS is gone. I wonder what their angle is now.
I'll come up with one called Dime OS.
Yeah. Nickel OS.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's going to be
a quarter of OS.
So maybe we all need to drink the Kool-Aid and start using the North Korean Star OS Linux.
I think it's going to be an interesting few weeks to see how this all pans out. I mean, there's so many factors going into this Red Hat situation. We just got to wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about pleasing the board members.
Yep.
It always boils down to that. To hell with the rest of everybody.
It's also the possibility that because it's hard now and it's rather sudden, and people don't the Red Hat clones don't quite know how to handle this yet. it could be a blessing in disguise down the line. But yeah, we should have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if their DaVinci Resolve's website is just really upselling a lot of their $500 keyboards. I'm trying to just find, like, just tell me, like, literally there's a section for tech specs, and all it is just a bunch of keyboards for sale.
Wow.
No, I kind of want the technical specs. What will you run on? Even the link, even the downloader, though, I have to give them a lot of personal information even to download it. So,
yeah, the last time I got it, I had to cough up everything, including a big toe.
Yeah, I'll figure out a way to do that without the big toe. But
yeah,
it requires that you have an NVIDIA card of sizable strength too.
Well, I guess I'm out. I think that was more of like it's going to work way better with, but I'm not 100% sure.
When I first downloaded, it was a requirement. It wouldn't even run on an AMD card.
Unfortunately, their website is absolutely horrendous, so I can't even. I mean, it's this. Well, they need it. They need
CentOS went away. They gave up. They should have something for Windows. They make a Windows version.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can see the downloads and stuff, but like every single page is just like, every single page is just trying to upsell their crap. It's like, give me the tech specs of your server. That's all I want.
Mm-hmm. I mean, DaVinci Resolve is a nice piece of recording software, but I still think that OBS
it's video editing software. It's the top end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check in on the Olive production. That was released as a flat pack, and I tried around when it was in alpha, and there were still a few bugs with it. But let's see. All right, so to run DaVinci Resolve, you don't need anything incredibly powerful, but it's still important to check and see. System requirements for DaVinci Resolve 18 and 17 vary from operating system. Linux. Okay, so lowest running Linux want CentOS 7.3, 32 gigs of system memory, iCore 7 or AMD Ryzen 7, which is funny because i7 is equivalent to the Ryzen 5, not the Ryzen 7.
i7 can be of any generation. They have to give you a CPU number to go by.
GPU with at least 2 gigs of VRAM, supports OpenCL and CUDA, as well as the latest driver.
You can have a 10-year-old 37700 or 70K processor from 2012. It's still an i7, but it's slow as molasses.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can find that information, but not much more than that. I don't know. I'll poke around a little bit more. All right. We need to jump off here, so I have time to get ready for my next things I need to do tonight. So we will catch you guys later. Tomorrow, weekly news roundup, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is exactly now. Well, 10 minutes ago now. Tomorrow. And we will have the weekly news roundup. With that, thank you for watching, everybody, and we will see you all next time.
See you later.
Live long and prosper.